This is a game I played yesterday on GoQuest. I'm playing against a slightly stronger opponent. I'm black in this game, and I go for my favorite black boomerang opening, which I play almost every chance I get nowadays. And up to here, I'm pretty well prepared. I've seen this many times. I like to just capture this single stone, because at this point, if white goes down, I get a chance to use this nice wedge Tesuji here, which maybe I should make a dedicated video about this at some point, but I have some opening prep here, so I always play into this hoping I will get a chance to use it. White can also play Atari here, and then it's a bit tricky. You need to find maybe the right timing to start this go. You can try something here on the bottom. I should probably look more into what I'm supposed to do here, because here I'm also unsure. But in this case, white just slides on the bottom here. And here I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to play, but it seems to make sense that if this is the normal variation, then I can't really allow white to get first this exchange in, and then white going down here. This would be way too good for white. So I kind of have to resist and play up here. If white is going to take this, I need to take this one to keep up in points. White just continues. Similarly for white, if white responds here, maybe now I will be happy to come back and block off this, and I just got a good exchange in with c8. So white continues in like this, and now me simply playing Atari here didn't feel big enough. It feels like white g3 is such a nice move. I felt I had to make something good happen inside here. And what I ended up playing in the game was c3. The idea here being that if white blocks like this, I can Hane, and now I'm threatening an Atari on e3. So we'll come back to that in a moment, but let me first just show a stronger suggestion from Kotago, which is to play this move, which was not at all on my radar, but it makes some sense after having looked at it. So it doesn't immediately connect, at least to my eye it doesn't look like it connects, but it is surprisingly well connected to c8. So obviously a move like b6, then this would be connected because white can go down here. This one, it seems like white can disconnect something like this, but actually black still has something of a connection here. And I think the main variation from Kotago was if white tries this, black can go inside once, threaten to just live in the corner. White somehow keeps this a bit reduced. This was the top move, also a bit strange, but let's just look at this variation. So we can see in this way black was able to reduce quite a bit of the left side. Okay, I didn't find this fancy move. This is a bit too much for me, so I'll try to remember this for next time. I think part of the shape here to understand is that if there was more empty space up here, it wouldn't be as effective to connect in this way, because white could, cut and extend, but there's nowhere to go here. So actually, due to this being so close to this corner, it's a little bit special, and yeah, it's hard to disconnect this one stone. So, okay, but in the game, yes, I played this one. White did play this. I got to make this, and now, yeah, the idea if white Atari is here, then I can just Atari and cut this off. And I think this is okay for white as well, but this was my plan. This would be an even game, I think. Actually, I don't remember, but this was the plan. And if white backs off like this, then I can maybe make a life in the corner. The problem is white could also block like this. And now, even though I can cut here, I don't really have enough liberties to be able to do anything with these stones. So this would actually be good for white. This is why this move was not really working against the strongest resistance. White should just block here. But in the game, white played this one, I played this, white goes down. Now, black is like almost alive, but not quite. If black could make this exchange forcing, if white responds, then this would now be an alive shape. But unfortunately, if I play here, white can just play b2, and I really don't have a lot of liberties. Let's exchange this and cut. We see that, okay, I get to cut, but I'm just dying here and I have very few liberties. So I didn't go for this. This was kind of my first instinct, but I thought I didn't like the idea of white playing here and saving this, and at this time playing e2, because it seemed again like I would be very short on liberties with this group. I only have 3 liberties right now. But this was actually Kotago's suggestion to play like this. So what I was missing here was that black has an amazing Tesuji here, which is to play b5. Actually, it's the same move as before, funnily enough, although the context is a bit different. But yeah, this is amazing. I don't think I would have found this ever. So white can't really allow black to connect on a4. So let's say white just plays here, takes a liberty, that makes sense, right? Then black can cut, and this is still now Sente. If white plays here, you know, black Atari, everything is dying. So white still needs another move, and then black gets to play here. So black dies, but dies in a very nice way, where black gets the big endgame here in Sente, and then also gets the endgame on the right side. So black is actually winning by 2 points here. Very beautiful sacrifice. This was the best move, I suppose, in this case. But because I didn't see that b5 Tsuji, I thought this was bad for black, so I went for this plan instead. This also has the idea of preventing b2 to give black some more liberties, and hoping that I will get the e2 move next. So if white plays e2 right now, of course I could just live with the group. So white first tries to reduce the I shape, like this. And then my idea is I play here, and now I get to live. A couple of asterisks on that living. First of all, when I push here, white still has the option of taking away the eyes. But then we get into a similar situation. I thought this was better than that one, because, you know, maybe now there's a ko here. If white doesn't want to play the ko, white has to play a4 and a1 before approaching. But in Katago's eyes, it was a very similar idea to the other one, where black is actually going to give up this group, but is going to get some forcing moves on the outside. So maybe black just plays here now, and white is sort of forced to take these stones off the board, and it's going to be good enough for black. But I guess both me and my opponent were in agreement that it's simpler for white to just connect like this. So that's what white did. And okay, so then I lived here, but of course this is not entirely alive because white has b1. There's a ko here. But white doesn't have any great ko threat right now, so white doesn't start it right away. But it does mean that I have to keep this ko in mind, which is annoying. So I'm not very happy with this result. But I think at this point Katago is evaluating the game as even. So like with good play it should be a draw from this point. So I end up blocking here, and then I take this one. I don't want to play too passively here and let white have everything, so I make sure to get this Atari in. And I'm really thinking now how to avoid giving a big ko threat. So at this point when white pushes here, if I back off, then I was worried that white will just play, let's say white continues to push and cuts here, for instance. That would be one way to create a very big ko threat, because I kind of have to Atari, now white can start a ko, and now we have a big ko threat here. But even this apparently was okay for me. I could have responded to this ko threat, which is big enough, and then got this ko threat in exchange, which is super big, because the follow-up is I can play this honey here. White cannot Atari and go down on j4, so I can actually go all the way to j2, which is pretty cool. So this is, just barely good enough for black, thanks to this endgame Tsuji here. So I could have played h7, but in the game I thought I need to be careful and not give too big of a ko threat. By blocking here, I'm giving up one stone, but at least now, I can easily ignore this move. This is easier to ignore than that other big ko threat we saw. So, I think I had a okay reasoning, but it wasn't the best in this case. And now I ended up coming back and fixing the ko. I thought if I, for instance, I thought it was difficult to remove all the ko threats, basically. I thought white has ko threats on j8, maybe something on d8, although it's very costly. So I just got it into my head that I will need to go back eventually, so might as well go back now. And, I will get one of these next, these endgame points. But, this was the losing, not losing move, but the move that turned the game from a draw into a loss. I guess that's a losing move, losing move of the game. I was supposed to just capture here. And even though there's a ko, there's no good enough ko threat for white. So white would start a ko, but I can ignore this one and simply capture. And there's even a bit of problems here inside, like eventually white is going to have to add a move on h3. So I think this is actually a win for black if white tries to ko. So I sort of, I chickened out here. I was supposed to just take the points and dare white to start a ko, but I thought I needed to protect. And then white gets this big point, and now I'm actually behind by 2 points. So I get this one, push here, we just play out the normal endgame. Now there were no mistakes here because this is a very easy endgame. and yeah, I'm losing by 2 points. So that was a pretty interesting game, I thought. The highlight being, I think, this invasion here. Worth to remember, I think. Very cool shape. Hope you liked this video. See you in the next one.